Hello guys, welcome to another review of BM345 reviews. Today's review is on Inspector Sun. This film is the final film that Viva Pictures will be distributing this year. And also, this is the first film by the new studio Capers Animation. This film was first released in Spain last year. It wouldn't get a US release until 2023. Thankfully, somebody leaked the entire movie on HD, making the theatrical release literally pointless. This is not to say that everything that the animators or the directors did for this film is worthless. If it was on a different studio, it would have the same effect. So now that I've seen this film, let's start the review. So the story for this film is basically Inspector Sun getting fired from his job after an explosion that he caused in his mystery. After that, he's fired. He goes to Shanghai for a vacation until a murder happened while he was in the plane. So he needs to solve who the murderer is, while also trying to stop it from harming the insect world and the human world. So basically, this plot is pretty simplistic and easy to guess what will happen throughout the entire movie. Well, I could forgive that if the comedy was good, but here's the problem. The comedy isn't really that great to begin with. Like, most of it is just toilet humor and just slapstick that doesn't even make me laugh, and failed pop culture references. No joke, there is a character in this film which eats a piece of crap. Like literally, who the heck would even want to see that after they drink soda and eat popcorn? And what makes the story even worse is with the characters, which I will get into later. But why does it really need to be insects for this detective story? Clearly, you could easily replace these insects with humans and it would have been the exact same thing. This movie suffers from Shark Tale syndrome, where the movie that its theme around doesn't really make sense when you feature the world building. You'll think that a mystery film will make you engage as to what happens in the movie, but with the issues I've said, there's nothing really good to say about the story. Next, we move on to the animation, and this is not a good looking film. I get that they don't have the highest budget to work in this film, but come on, they could at least do some effort if they have a smaller budget and work on the rendering, which is pretty much the main issue of this movie, since most of the character animation is inconsistent. They move fluently and sometimes they move in Looney Tunes fashion. You think for an insect movie, there would be some creativity with the environments, but no, it feels like just a human setting, but scaled down to a bug size. The character designs on the insects are completely uncomfortable to look at. Like, they have highly detailed features that makes them pretty weird. The character designs on the humans is a mixed bag. You have some that look okay and some that look like bug-eyed freaks. So is this considered bad animation? No, I don't think it's the worst animation I've ever seen. It looks decent for a first-time studio, but it could have been a lot better. And finally, let's move on to the characters. And trust me, this has to be the annoying, uninteresting cast of characters I've ever seen. Starting with Inspector Sun, he is the world's famous detective that got fired from his job and also unlikable in the first 30 minutes of the movie. What makes him worse is that he's not really an interesting character, like I said, and the overacting of him. Like seriously, he can be super annoying with some pop culture references and doing something really stupid. Then there's Janie, who's basically Inspector Sun's fangirl, who's super annoying, like seriously. She tries way too hard to be a comic relief, but fails miserably. Captain Skeleton is annoying. He literally gets nervous over everything. That's his entire character. He's just nervous. Dr. Bugsy Spindlethorpe, who's basically an assistant for the villain of the movie, but he needs to get help from Son because he got a death threat, and he dies. Is that a spoiler? I don't care. Arabella Kiltup, who's the former wife of Bugsy that got framed for his murder, and also trying to be so hard to be a Rule 34 character that it's pretty impossible to find something that makes her attractive. And finally, we have Red Lotus, who's basically the main villain of the film. Is that a spoiler again? I don't even care! If I'm being honest, he's honestly the only good character in this movie. He has a motivation that makes sense, and his performance by Rich Orlo is pretty good. That doesn't change anything when some of these characters are annoying and uninteresting, or they're just there to progress the story. I cannot believe that I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that this is another bad film distributed by Viva Pictures. You know, the same distributor who distributed Food Fight. Freaking Food Fight! Inspector Son may be one of the most unnecessary films since The Wildlife and SEAL Team. That includes an uninteresting detective story with world building that doesn't make sense, that suffers from Shark Tale syndrome, animation that's at least decent, looks completely mediocre, and characters that are annoying or uninteresting. I'll just recommend you guys to skip this movie and just watch another good detective movie, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or possibly go watch the original Inspector Gadget, since those are great works based on the mystery genre. I am hoping for Capers Animation to release a good film after this, since looking at their other projects, they look completely interesting and would be good to be released worldwide. And Viva Pictures, if you're watching this, go fuck yourselves, since you guys are greedy bastards who only take away children's money to make a profit. And I'm expecting you guys to improve next year, hoping to release a good film that everybody, especially the kids, would enjoy. If not, then your reception will be looked down upon as one of the worst distributors in animation history.
For you, Captain Skelton, made à la française.